Reminder that FanDuel is the #1 sportsbook in America, and right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you're thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than right now to get it on the action. The app is easy to use with a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL and an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Jason Lloyd joins us now from Berea, outside of the Browns facility. He just spoke with Deshaun Watson, with Andrew Berry, and everyone else in the locker room, and he joins us now for the latest. What's up, Jason?
What's up, guys?
Nice car. Hey, Jay, start with the mood. I mean, obviously, it had to feel, even though Andrew Berry was very excited about this opportunity.
What's he supposed to say? What do you want him to say?
That's
Oh,
what we've been saying. We get it. But let me tell you, when he went into his office and shut the door, I'm pretty sure he needed a Kleenex.
Probably crying, yeah.
Take us inside the room, the temperature in the room. What did you sense?
Trash can, I think, when he went in his office. It was somber, right? Like it's everyone's down. Deshaun was down. Deshaun had to pull himself together for a couple seconds. You know, Jake Trotter asked him just where are your emotions right now, and it took him a couple seconds to collect. And you know, me being the dead inside cynic that I am, I kind of wonder, like, well, is this theater or is this real? And I talk to other people like, oh no, this is real. Like, he's hurting. He's really hurting. So, I mean, you know, he's played, 12 games now in the last 3 years? So there's a lot of, I think that's right. I was trying to run the numbers in my head. So there's a lot of questions.
I don't even think it's 12. I think it's 9.
Well, he started.
No, it was 6 last year.
6 last year, and he started 6 this year, but he didn't finish the Colts game.
Well, that game was
really 11.
I think without that game,
he
started.
Yeah. So there's, you know, there's obviously he's down from just what the last few years have been like. Now I think there's fair questions to wonder what's this going to look like when he comes back. So, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And there's just – it was – you know, they had it rolling. It was right there. It was wide open. I was talking to Zach on the phone yesterday, Zach Jackson, and I said, the AFC is wide open, man. Like, there's no telling where this could go if he can continue to play like he did in the second half against Baltimore. And, you know, I tweeted this earlier, but I'm sure you guys talked about this, but he went 14 of 14 with a broken shoulder.
I know.
Insanity.
Yeah. Don't ever talk about this guy's toughness ever again.
Thank you.
And I was just kind of poking around after the press conference, because I kind of wondered also, like, did he feel it? Like, was his shoulder shot up? Are they shooting him up before every game just because of what else is going on there? And I don't think he got a Toradol shot before the game, from what it sounds like. So that's even more remarkable because, I mean, Tyvis would know, G would know, if they shoot you with Toradol, you probably can't feel it anyway until that wears off. But from the sounds of things, I don't even know if he got a shot for the shoulder before the game. So if that's the case, man, I mean, you know, dude was a warrior to go out there and play in the second half with a broken shoulder and go 14 of 14. That's unbelievable.
Jason, obviously he said they're going to add a quarterback. He wouldn't give you any speculation. There's 3 camps here, right? There's the long shot, call Tom Brady, call RG3, call Matt Ryan, whatever, one of those vets that have had success in the league. There's the young guy with upside maybe on a practice squad. And then there's the Kellen Monds or the PJ Walkers who are just roster fodder, no chance to start, third guy at the end of the line. Which way do you think they're going to go?
I think they'll sign somebody off somebody else's practice squad. I don't think they're going to go the Colt McCoy route. There you go. Like, yeah, that's a name. I mean, Tyvis would probably know the names better than I would. But I think that's the route to go. You want someone who's in shape, first of all. And I don't think that they're looking like I think it's going to be I think you got to go back to DTR.
They are.
And no one has come out. Yeah, no one has come outright and told me that specifically, but it sounds like that's the way. I know there's some reports out there, and that sounds like that's the way that they're going. I mean, PJ's a turnover machine. You just can't have that. With this defense, that's like, you know, I tweeted earlier, that's the one poison pill to this defense. You can't don't turn the ball over. Hand the ball off, throw some screens, run play action, and take deep shots on third down. Like, if you can do that, you can keep yourself in these games the rest of the way. But if there was somebody else on the street who they thought was better, they'd have been here a month ago. That's why I don't think that there's no street free agent or any practice squad guy that they're going to bring in that they're going to put over these guys right now, or they would have been here already. And so, you know, I don't think that necessarily that's the great answer. Berry made it clear they're looking at the room that they have now as how they're going to solve this going forward, barring complete catastrophe and more injuries. And I just think you got to go back to DTR at this point.
Jason, sorry to cut you off, but I agree they got to go to
No, you're good.
DTR. I agree that they should go to DTR, and hopefully they will, because that's why you traded Josh Dobbs, who right now looks like he'd be a better option than anybody else they have. And I understand because Leroy said similar to what you said about like going after a Matt Ryan. But like, what would be the harm of calling a Matt Ryan or even a Colt McCoy or a Nick Foles and saying, hey, listen, guys, we want to get DTR. We want to give him this shot. We want to see him for a few weeks, see how well he plays. And if it works, hey, you get to collect a paycheck for a few weeks and be a veteran backup for him to talk to. If it doesn't, we're going to throw you in 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. What's the harm in doing that?
Well, they couldn't play when they last saw him, so I don't think they got better. I guess would be what Matt Ryan was awful. Last time we saw him, he was terrible. And Joe Flacco beat the Browns last year.
Though.
Well, but first of all, do you know that they want to do this?
I don't.
No. We just assume that they want to come here. I mean, they could be very happy cashing their millions and millions and millions of dollars of checks from previously. So that's number one. Does the guy you want, if there is a guy you want, does he want to be here? Does he want to go through that? And it would be nice to have someone, I think, with a little bit more veteran experience, but they're not going to know the system because they just walked in on day one. Now, it's probably not the most complicated system. And a true veteran like Matt Ryan, has been around and seen enough. And Matt actually probably is somewhat comfortable with the schemes that Kevin's running. But I just think that they're going to go the route of a practice squad guy who's in shape, who's in the league, who's at practice every day, who could step in and play if necessary, where some of these other guys you're talking about haven't been on a football field in a year or more. And I don't think that's realistic. If they thought Matt Ryan was better than P.J. Walker, then why the hell wasn't Matt Ryan here a month ago? Well, that's just he was out there, and I'm just using him as an example. Fill in any name you want in that spot.
But it's possible,
if he was better, he'd have been here already.
It's possible. Maybe they reached out to Matt Ryan. I'm just saying, throwing this out there. Maybe they reached out to Matt Ryan a month ago, and he was like, no, I'm not interested because he knew Deshaun Watson was coming back. But maybe knowing that Deshaun Watson is out for the year, some of these guys might be more interested because they could potentially play in the playoffs. It's possible. Sorry, guys,
I don't know. I think it's a case-by-case basis. Some of these guys are probably very, very happy in retirement and don't want to go through this anymore. And maybe there is one or two out there that would be willing to come back and do it, but I don't think that's the route they're going to go. I could be wrong. I just think if that's the route they wanted to go, they would have done it long time ago.
Jason, I got to ask this. Right now, Berry seems to be in a position where he doesn't want to talk about it, but I mean, I don't see any other teams trading their backup quarterback. They traded their backup quarterback for a 5th-round pick, and this guy's playing lights. Not even saying he's playing lights out, but two other teams felt he was good enough to start for them, and the Cardinals and now the Vikings off 2-3 weeks a break, rest, or whatever the case may be. Don't know the playbook. I mean, is this something he has to answer for? Because right now you're down. You got a great team, a great defense, and then you're down to P.J. Walker and a rookie. So I mean. What is his explanation for that?
Well, there is no good explanation. That's why he doesn't want to talk about it, because it was a mistake, and he's not going to admit that right now. And it's hard for me. Like, I don't want to be hypocritical about it. And, Bull, I think we've talked about it before. I'm not going to sit here and kill the guy now because we didn't kill him at the time. And at the time, I thought DTR's ready. They must think DTR's ready. That's why they're making this move. And either it was a miscalculation on their part because clearly DTR wasn't ready at the time back then. We've talked about it before. It's almost like creating an asset, and this team is a little bit thin on trade assets right now. So you signed Josh Dobbs as a street free agent. I remember saying last year, I wasn't even sure Dobbs was an NFL quarterback last year when he was here. And so if someone's coming to you and saying, hey, we're going to give you the 5th-round pick for this guy who's a fringe NFL quarterback, and you're going to save $1 million off your cap that you can roll over to next year, and you drafted this guy who looked good in training camp, who had a terrific preseason, and you think he's ready, I get the thinking behind it at the time. Now, obviously, it was a mistake. Like, it was a mistake. They should have held on to him, clearly. Yep. But it's just hard for me to totally crush them because at the time, you understood the logic behind it, and you followed the thinking as to why they thought that way. Now, DTR had one chance. He got half the practice reps leading up to it. He found out 2.5 hours before the game he was going to start, and it was an unmitigated disaster against one of the best defenses in the league. With a full week's rep of practice reps, with a little bit more experience, he's been another month of practices, and we'll see. With a full week of practice reps, I've talked about it on the show. Tyvis knows this. G knows this. You've got to practice. You've got to practice during the week. You can't just roll in on Sunday with no practice, especially at the quarterback position, and think you're good to go. Like, unless you are the elite of the elite of the elite, that just doesn't happen. So hopefully, it's and now again, he's going against a terrific defense. It sucks for this kid that if they go the DTR route, his first 2 starts were against Baltimore and on the road at Pittsburgh. Like, can you think of 2 more difficult places to make your first 2 NFL starts? That's a tough spot to put him in, but I just don't know how you go back to PJ Walker because he's such a turnover machine, and that's the one thing you can't have with this defense.
Jason, I got 2 questions for you. The first one, did you find out why Deshaun wants to be called Derek?
No, I did not. Sorry, ran out of time.
And why?
It was next up on his list.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought this would be the perfect time to just, ask that question.
Yeah.
And why? What is? So you telling me you don't believe in a quarterback that's over 500 in his career? Do you need to see the? I got the graphic too. If you need to see what I'm talking about.
Hey, troll! Don't you dare! You're just being a troll, and you know it.
No, seriously. What is the realistic expectations for DTR? I mean, like you say, the first one wasn't good. Obviously, everybody in the locker room is behind him. I seen some quotes from the players on Twitter. Do you think that he actually has a good game and could potentially? They need to go 4-4 to probably make the playoffs. Can he get them 4 wins?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the schedule and you think there's 4 wins in there. Now, also, I watched Denver the other night and thought, man, Denver's better than I thought they were. And we say it all the time. It's a week-to-week league. Just because you look good one week doesn't mean you will the next. But I was kind of chalking Denver up as that's a win. And then I saw them play Buffalo the other night and thought, well, they're better than I thought.
They also
Suddenly
beat Kansas City.
Game, yeah, and the Houston game isn't a gimme that, a month ago looked like it might be a gimme. That's not a gimme anymore. So I do think that there's wins here to go get if you take care of the ball. Like, again, hand the ball off, throw screen passes. We talked about it before. It's the new Browns offense. We talked about it when Deshaun's shoulder was beat up a couple weeks ago. And I was talking to guys in the locker room about, like, what's your identity? What do you do well right now? Like, what is working? And it's heavy sets, it's extra linemen, it's extra tight ends. Run the ball, throw screens, play action, and take deep shots occasionally on third down. There's nothing sexy about that. That's not why you go out and you trade for a franchise quarterback and give up 3 first-round picks to play that style of ball. But you can't work – like, this is the reality. This is where you're at. You want to win or lose. If you want to win, this is how you have to do it. You play defense. You rely on your defense. Play the field position game. You got a punter that can kick the ball to Erie, Pennsylvania. So punt and play defense and slowly stack drives together, swing the field of play. And if you start one drive at the 30, you get 1 first down. You punt it. You get the ball back, hold them at 3 and out, get the ball back, get 2 first downs. You punt them deep. You punt them inside the 10. You hold them. You get the ball back. Now you're at the 50. Now you're in the scoring position with 1 or 2 first downs. There's nothing sexy about this, but it's the reality of where they're at. And the AFC is wide open. And I think that's what hurts so much is it was right there, man. Everything was in front of them right now. It still is, theoretically. I don't know if this team's going to a Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback or PJ Walker or some dude off the street. But you can still get to the playoffs for sure. I absolutely think with this defense, you can still make the playoffs. You can find 4 wins, maybe 5, who knows. They haven't had very good quarterback play up to this point of the season, and look where they're at. So
That's
it's
right.
still out there for them, but it's a big blow.
It is. It's a big blow. Jay, you said maybe 5. As you project out, it looks like it'll take 11 wins, doesn't it, to get in?
Depends on the tie.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think we're still a little bit.
I think the
we're
number of
still a
teams
few
that are
weeks
already
away.
sitting at 5,
I think there'll be there's not going to be 7 teams with 11 wins, though.
well, it
I
took
don't
11
think so.
last year, didn't it?
Did it?
I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think
No,
See,
I
who
don't
was
think
the last
so.
team in?
Well, the Jags
year.
won their division
Wasn't
with
it the
9
Jets?
wins.
Well, yeah, no, I mean the
wasn't it
wild
the
cards.
Dolphins?
Last year, the 7th seed in the AFC. Get out of here, Ad. 7th seed in the AFC was
The Dolphins.
No, they didn't make the playoffs. The
No.
Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers.
And what were they?
Yeah, it was the Steelers.
10 and 7?
Steelers
9 and
made the
8.
playoffs.
They made the playoffs at 9 and 8.
Oh, no, wait a second. They didn't make the playoffs.
Miami. Well, them and Miami were both 9 and 8.
Yeah.
And Miami got in at 9 and 8.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you were right.
So fall
You were
back.
right. So if
was
not,
Miami?
I don't think 9's going to get in. I think it'll be 10.
Miami didn't
If
make
it's
the
10,
playoffs.
it's a race
What?
to 4. And to Jay, to your point, like if you play this defense, and Bull appropriately said, as you were describing what they have to do, Jim Tressel ball. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's what they gotta do.
But you can win that way because you have the defense, you have the punter to flip the field, and the run game, even though Chubb hasn't been there, the run game was pretty solid last week.
Yeah, I covered Tressel's teams for 10 years, and
Pretty
that's
boring.
exactly how. And I remember, I mean, this is how much football's changed. I remember when Mike Nugent was there, it was the NC State game, and they had a turnover, and they were going on a short field, and he grabbed, I forget who the quarterback was. It was Krenzel, or I don't remember now. But he grabbed the quarterback and said, hey, don't mess up our 3. And he was content to just kick field goals and play defense, kick field goals and play defense. Obviously, Kevin is a go for it type of a coach, but the principles still remain of play sound defense, don't turn the ball over, slowly wear them down field position wise to where you get possession around the 40 or so. You know what I'm saying? And it may take 2 or 3 possessions, but if you can force a turnover on defense and get a short field, if you can hold them to a couple 3 and outs and slowly change field position, that's your best chance of winning. And I'm sorry to say that because I'd love to talk about going empty sets and throwing the ball all over the place, but that's just not – I mean, they're still going to go empty because they go empty all the time. But this is just – they're not going to throw the ball 15, 20 yards down the field consistently. You know, that's just not where – that's not where this offense is at right now.
A team hasn't won a Super Bowl without a decent quarterback in a long time. Now, Nick Foles won one 7 years ago. He played great in those playoffs, though. He played great.
But
we'll see if it can be done. I don't know.
I don't like looking at the one anomaly out of 15
I
years.
hear you.
Like,
Guys, I'll say this, though.
The Pistons won a championship without a star player 20 years
right.
ago, so that means it can be done. Well,
I'll tell you this, though, and I think, I mean, it's there. The league is more defensive-minded now than it was even 3 years ago.
Right. But what that means is that there's a lot of teams that are good defensively.
It does, but it also
and
means
they have
that
much better quarterbacks.
Right. So if now the pendulum is swinging back towards great defense, and I think it is, look at Kansas City. Kansas City's doing it with a great defense. Mahomes has been good this year, even above average, but he hasn't been Patrick Mahomes.
Favorite for MVP right now, so.
Yeah, but go look at his numbers and compare them to past
I'm
years.
just saying, he's still a favorite for MVP. Jason, real quick, and we got to let you run.
Should be
You
CJ.
were next to Deshaun Watson, literally standing next to Deshaun when he was speaking at his availability. We didn't get a chance to listen. Obviously, we were on the air. I only see some of the quotes. I didn't get a chance to actually listen. How did he seem? Because it's obviously another tough setback for a guy who's been through more than really any of us can imagine over the last 2.5 years.
yeah, he was down. He was talking to some staffers before saying, I don't know if I can get through this or not. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to do this. And I thought it was good on the Browns to bring Berry out, make him available before Kevin, get this out of the way, get all the questions out of the way, to make Deshaun available today, and just get it over with. Just bring him out and get it all over with. And he was he was in a walking boot. I think it's fair to wonder if he'd have been able to play with the ankle, if not for the shoulder. He said absolutely he could play through the ankle. We'll never know. Now that that is something they could shoot up and go ahead and try and play through, but a high ankle sprain's no joke either. But he's down, and somber, I think is the word I used earlier, and that's most fitting to me. Is sort of felt like a funeral today, being in the locker room and talking to him, because he was really down, and it's very difficult to have the Deshaun Watson conversation. Every time you say everything he's been through, people want to shake their fist and say, he brought it on himself, and some of it is self-inflicted, but there's no question. You can't look at this guy and look at the last 3 years of his life. It's been a lot. And now here we go again. Just when he starts to play well, he finally got it cooking against Tennessee, and then he hurts his shoulder the first time. And he has a monster second half against Baltimore, and now he's out for the year. So every time he starts to put it together, there's another setback. And now, from all he did mention he thinks he could pick up a football from the sounds of things in probably 2 to 3 months. If that's the case, certainly, he'll be fine for training camp. I think we're going to go through this all over again of is he healthy? What's the ceiling now? Is the shoulder 100%? This is another one, like we talked about with the micro tears, and there's not a lot of history with those with quarterbacks.
Right.
Well, there's not a lot of history with this with quarterbacks either. Everyone was sort of scrambling this morning to see if there was another case of a quarterback having this injury. I've yet to find one. Doesn't mean it's not out there.
I couldn't either.
But I don't know that we've come across it yet. Come across an NFL quarterback who's had this injury, let alone had this injury and came back and had success. So it's really sort of uncharted waters right now.
And the other thing, Jason, that you have to look at moving forward, obviously, is longevity. One of the things that you always worry about with a quarterback who has the run game in his arsenal is that he takes more hits. It's one thing to stand back there and be upright. It's another thing to be running at full speed and be hit by someone who else is running at full speed towards you. And, that's got to be a concern. Can he continue to play the way he has played with these injuries? Because if availability isn't there, then it's a waste.